Adversity. It comes to us in various forms, and many are still trying to figure out how to handle it when it shows up. While most people shy away from their adversity demons, Michael Allison has found a way to tackle them head-on. Molestation, bullying, PTSD, unemployment, divorce, custody battle. For the first time, Michael publicly reveals how he dealt with each of the traumatic events that changed his life forever. It's time to break the silence. From humble beginnings in Jamaica to successful entrepreneurship, he teaches you how to take the pain endured from your adversity and turn it into power. Witness the journey of this Purple Heart recipient and TEDx speaker in his new book, Overcoming Adversity: Getting Your Life Back on Track. Available on www.theadversityacademy.com and Amazon. Order your copy today.
All right. That was such an intro. That was amazing. And I want to welcome everyone tonight for this remarkable panel that we have that will be covering some really cool topics in terms of how to overcome adversity, how to become your best self, how to get back on track. In addition to all of the wonderful things we just heard about Mr. Michael Allison, he's also an author. He's the author of Overcoming Adversity: Getting Your Life Back on Track. Can you believe he's also a TEDx speaker? He holds an MBA in business. He's the recipient of the 2022 Distinguished Alumni Award from Indiana Wesleyan University. His mission is to inspire people, empower them, and impact their lives through his newly formed, wonderfully anticipated Adversity Academy, the Resilient Warrior Program. Without further ado, we have the man of the hour, the day, the year, and the whole decade here. Come on, Mr. Micah, come talk to the people. Okay, I am also your host.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you, Dr. Reggie, for that introduction. I appreciate everybody joining me for this book launch party. It means a lot to me. I know that you guys could do a lot of other stuff on your Wednesday night, but you choose to sit here and rock with me. So to say, you guys, thank you for that, and I really appreciate it. You know, I wrote this book for many reasons, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. Tonight, we have a guest of our authors that's going to be on our panel. We're going to be interviewing those people, have them tell their stories, tell a little bit about their book. And towards the end of the night, as we was doing the challenge of the Facebook group, we're going to be giving away their books as a part of the grand prize for tonight. So just make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Around 9:45, the last drawing is going to take place. And then we'll announce the winner inside of the Facebook group. And you guys would know who would be the winner at 10 o'clock inside of the Facebook group. So we just ask that you guys stay tuned all the way to the end and listen to some of these authors, listen to their stories. You're going to also hear my story as well. We're going to do some questions from me as well. And then if you guys have any questions or anything like that, make sure inside of the chat, you guys go ahead and drop any questions. We'll see that throughout the chat. And either myself or Dr. Reggie will toss up those questions, and we'll try to get those responses back to you in a timely manner within the show here tonight. So without any further ado, we have 4 authors that's going to come on tonight. We're going to have Shonda Roberts. We're going to have Christopher Robinson, Patricia Davis, and Robert Daniels. So without any further ado, we're going to have Shonda Roberts. She's going to be the first guest tonight. She's the author of the book, Three Sisters and One Man. You know what? I'm a military veteran as well, and Shonda Roberts is a military veteran. She's an entrepreneur. She's the owner of 738 Collections. We're going to bring her up to the stage. We're going to have her come on and talk about her book, and then tell us a little bit more about her.
Hello. Good evening. And thank you for inviting me to this show. Dr. Reggie, it's a pleasure. And Mr. Allison, it's a pleasure. So thank you for inviting me. So just a little bit about myself. Old country girl from Palm Beach County. Then too spectacular. I always tell people it ain't where you from is where you're going. A graduate from Florida State University, and then I got my master's at Valdosta State University. So right now, I'm currently in school to become a chemist, because if you all know that there's not too many people that look like me that are chemists. So I want to cross that barrier and let brown girls know that dreams do come true. In the process of opening a cosmetology school. Last year, I opened up a spa in Lauderhill, Florida, which is in the Fort Lauderdale area. So my plan is to cut out the middleman and create our own formulas for people that look like me. It's not one size fit all. That being said, I'm still active military, 18 years, and I'm counting down so I can put most of my energy back into my becoming a, being a successful entrepreneur. So a little bit about my book is Threesome. And I know the title is very, very catchy, and it's not exactly what you think. So a lot of times when you think of threesome, people think of sex, they think of freakiness and this man being with different women. But in actuality, it's three parts of me in this book. So when you read the book, it starts off like in a childlike voice. That's part one. That's the little me. And part two is Black Girl. It's the rebellious, out of control me. And the third part becomes Sergeant Roberts, where I'm a little bit more mature. But the caveat to this book is three different me's. It's a real story, but it's very graphic. Tears dropping. I've had people that read this book in one day. So the reason that I wrote this book is because it's very therapeutic for me. It gets out a lot of things that I've experienced in my lifetime, my childhood, etc. One of the things that was very disappointing to my family is when I wrote this book, ancestors, sexual ancestors amongst families and Black communities need to stop. So that was very therapeutic for me. My therapist also thought it would have been a good idea to put that book out. So it was a lot of release for me. Being 44 years old, that was a lot and a burden to carry over all these years. So that's one of the reasons that I wrote the book. So back to the name of the book, Threesome, is three sisters and one man, but the book is going to be a trilogy. So it's going to be 3 books, but at the end of the last book, you're going to understand that it was 3 different me's that found Christ in the end. So that man is not a physical, actual man. It was my walk with Christ throughout my journey of life.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. I can't wait to read the book. Can't wait to grab a hold of the trilogies. You made some really interesting points in terms of being able to go through various journeys throughout your life. And so the book captures various points of you, from a child, middle point to where you are now. So throughout that journey, what would you say has been the most defining moment throughout your journey of self-discovery?
The most defining moment is when I woke up one day and said that I'm not going to live for people anymore. This is not about the world. This is about me. And how could I become a better me? Because if I'm not a better me, then I have nothing to pour back into my community. So I was probably around 33 after I came back from Afghanistan when I realized that was the turning point for me. And that's when in the book it transitioned from Black Girl to Sergeant Roberts. That part of me became a little bit more ladylike, a little bit more responsible, and a little bit more mature.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. I mean, I know that's going to impact so many lives, and it's definitely going to be a healing process as well, because so many people go through various phases of who they are, but not ever getting to the point of really, truly defining who they are and finding peace in their truth and being able to flourish from there. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for being so generous with the donations you've made with your book. And we look forward to hearing and seeing the great things that are to come for the future for you, especially with the trilogies. I'm looking forward to reading it. I can't wait to read the book. Thanks.
And thanks again for you guys inviting me on tonight as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for coming on. All right, guys. Next up, we have Mr. Christopher Robinson. He's the author of Mastering the Process. He's the president and CEO of Therapy by Rob, which provides individual therapy, program consultation, professional training with mental health in that specific field. Without any further ado, let's welcome Mr. Christopher Robinson to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Thank you
What's
so
going
much.
on? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. I'm really excited to be here with all these other great authors. I'm feeling authors rather. I'm feeling very motivated being in great company. So,
Well,
quick overview of the book, Writing Myself Correct. So,
absolutely.
mastering your process is something that is shifting our mindsets and how we see our life goals. We're trained, generally speaking, the way we're socialized is to be very outcome driven. We have most of our successful individuals, they use certain terminology. If you don't know where you're going, you can end up somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Vision boards. What are you trying to achieve? What grades do you want? How much money do you want to make? All those different things. And those are important aspects. There's a huge gap in that mindset if that's the only way you do, things that are important to you. And it's very like from starting at point A and getting to point B. It's just a straight shot. And once you get to point B, you need to create another race. If you being process driven is more of a circular motion and it's more pattern forming. And that usually leads to more sustainability. And you also get opportunity to have other successes that you didn't necessarily focus on. If you know people who are very driven, they get very hyper focused, meaning they don't fall offline in regards to what they're doing. That can be a good thing at times, but there's also gaps with that thinking that lead to mistakes, missed opportunities. I'm so focused on getting into Harvard. Maybe I had a full ride to Yale and I didn't really analyze, that option. Also, inside the book, there's a process diagram and framework that shows you how to assess your habits along the way to make sure that you're avoiding certain pitfalls. It's got popular culture individuals inside of the book. It shows some of the aspects that they've used to become successful, as well as some of the things that they could have changed up that would have avoided certain pitfalls. There is an actual framework that you complete in the last chapter before the conclusion chapter to start to create your process. So it's a framework where you answer certain questions. It gives you the opportunity to evaluate those different things that you want to try to achieve so that it's something tangible that people can take, read, get the theory, but also then apply to whatever their goals are. So the release being in January was intentional because everybody's got those New Year's resolutions. And this is a perfect opportunity to maybe try some new things, especially if you have that New Year resolution that you never achieve. I'm going to gain 10 pounds, lose 50 pounds, whatever it is. If you use the process driven mindset, I'm very confident because it's something that a lot of my clients use. They always seem to have success with it. So that was the motivation for creating the book.
Okay, wow. Thanks for sharing that, Christopher. Great information. So let me ask you a question. Process is something that's important to in every aspect of our lives, right? Whether individually, personally, professionally, even within organizations. What would you say, at what point did you realize the importance of process and really being able to help people move along to that next phase of their life in terms of, in order to really get to understand process, you have to have the right mindset. So how do you pretty much kind of get the average person that doesn't understand the importance of process, but being able to impart upon them, how do you shift your mindset to be able to receive the lessons that you can learn by having a process driven life?
That's a great question. Well, the first thing that I do in the book is I outline how did we become so outcome driven. It starts at age. So it's really highlighting why I think the way that I think. And then I highlight the negatives that we don't necessarily see being only outcome driven. And then I shift into explaining what's driven is so important. And here's the extra benefits and how you pair those two things together. It became very enlightening to me when I was working with young parents, teen parents, and trying to work with them to create goals. And it's very hard for a 16-year-old to say that I'm going to get a job making $50,000 a year, get my own house so that I can, have the baby and me and my girlfriend all live together. And that's when we shifted. It was less about getting that job. It was more about gaining job skills. It was more about being present as a father. So we shifted from coming up with the what are you going to do to how are you going to do it? Because if you focus on that, that is the habits that will sustain you lifelong. You know, so it doesn't matter you working at Burger King, you don't quit that job until you get another job. You're always on time. If you're going to be late, you call in. So it's not about that check you're getting. It's about the skills that you're building, because you can use that as a CEO or running your own business. And so the how became more important versus like the outcomes we were getting that were immediate. And then you see the benefits of those. And that's what really started to drive that home for me.
Oh, wow. That's pretty interesting, because as a former educator, you know, it's always, you mentioned in terms of dealing with teen parents, right? It's something that I could see that's even applicable to preschoolers. So getting into that mindset of understanding, how do you set goals? How do you accomplish those goals? How do you set measurable goals? So being able to get that process mindset as early as, you know, the toddler age. So that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
100%.
Well, we thank you for being here tonight. You could have been anywhere else. You've decided, you know, sharing your journey with our platform and supporting, you know, our wonderful author here, Mr. Michael, and just being able to kind of just share your wisdom. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna have so many books to read. I'm an avid reader, so I'm looking forward to that as well. So thanks. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for blessing the stage, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you.
Wow, we have some really great authors tonight. This is good stuff.
Absolutely, man. These guys have some amazing books, amazing stories that we want everybody to make sure y'all stay tuned till 9:45, because you guys are going to have some amazing books that's going to be a part of your final grand prize. So next up, we have Miss Patricia Davis. Her book is called Lead from the Red Trunk. She's a professional with over 30 years of work history and over 20 years of leadership experiences in administration, project management, investment, marketing, and communications. I had an opportunity to speak to this lady. She has an amazing career, a great story, a phenomenal book. And we're going to bring Miss Patricia Davis to the stage, and we can have her come on and tell us a little bit about herself, tell us a little bit about her book. And just want to tell her welcome and thank you for also donating your book to be a part of the grand prize as well.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. And thank you so much. I'm so excited. I'm like you, Dr. Reggie. I've been listening to everybody and author after author. I'm like, I got to write that down. I've got to get their book. So I want to I thank you, Michael, again. You know, I'm excited about tonight, and I just appreciate you inviting me. And so I'm going to jump in a little bit and tell you about myself. I live here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Dallas, Texas, that is. Go Cowboys, okay? So, you know, I had to get that in there, all right? So undergrad degree from Oklahoma State University, small town, Stillwater, Oklahoma. I have my master's in education from Kaplan University. But as you said, I've got more than 30 years of experience in business. 20 of those years were in leadership. One of the things that I wanted to share with the listeners this evening is that I have been very, very blessed and fortunate to have found success, to have achieved success in multiple industries, healthcare, in education, in the tech sector. And so along my journey, my staff and colleagues would always ask me, what's your trick? What is it that you know that we don't know? So I kept hearing that year after year after year. You know, it didn't matter which sector I was in. So I parked that one. And then there's my mom. So this red trunk, my book is called Lead from the Red Trunk. And so I'm going to put it here. It can be found, of course, on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. But what I want to say is my mother was my inspiration. She had a fourth grade education, but you couldn't tell her she could not do whatever she wanted to do. And so with that, she started to tell us a story as we were very, very young about this trunk. And the trunk is a metaphor, and that's how I use it. But she had a physical trunk, but I use it as a metaphor for leadership. As we go along the leadership journey, we get introduced to tools. We go to seminars, different people tell us, you learn what to do, what not to do. And so along the way, I started gathering things that were working because people kept saying, why you and not me? Why you just got here? How did you get that promotion? And so this book is designed to share what I call effective tips and tools to help you along the leadership journey. It's not that you have to go out and buy all these big, investments and what people say. It's got to be something easy and practical. And I'd like to believe that's what this book is. It is a very, very easy read, and it is designed to introduce to anyone, whether it is the entrepreneur, whether you're the beginner, whether you're the mid-level or you're the C-level. You can learn something from this book, and I call them tips. So those are my tips and my tools. So I hope that, individuals who will buy the book, and once they read it, I hope they'll find that it's an easy read and it's something that they can use, because I have a passion for helping individuals grow along their leadership journey.
Wow, I can't wait to read that one as well, The Red Trunk. So let me ask you a question. In your journey as a leader and having success in multiple industries and working with so many different people across the spectrum, what would you say is the common denominator between those that are able to implement your tools, implement your tips, as far as being successful, and those that have not been able to really accomplish the things that you've been able to do as well as you set out in terms of your blueprint? So what is the common denominator in the profile of those individuals, would you say?
Thank you, Dr. Reggie. The common denominator is individuals who are willing to take the risk, willing to move and apply, because we learn a lot from failure. We also learn from success, but we learn a whole lot more from failure. And so one of the things that I see in addition to that would be those individuals understand the common denominators for team dynamics and the leadership styles. And once you get those tips, guess what? It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter whether it's your marriage, your church, or whether you're serving on your local community board. You can be successful. And leadership feels easy once you get that.
Wow, that's remarkable. And you said something very key. We learn a great deal of information. We gather information, but how do you execute? How do you implement? Being able to read the room, understanding team dynamics, and how to become an effective leader. We appreciate you. I'm looking forward to reading that one as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Davis. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, the next person that we have up is Mr. Robert Daniels. He's the author of Break the Chains. He's the entrepreneur. He's the philanthropist, an author, and a high impact motivational speaker. He's a husband and a father. And he wrote this book in regard to break the chains and change some things around dysfunction and abuse. And we'd love to welcome Mr. Robert Daniels to the stage.
You guys doing?
Welcome, Robert. Hey.
I gotta bear with me. I'm like in the back of my car because I've been running with my kids. Just being a father, sure I do my part as a. It's not always easy, okay? But go into I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an author. Your husband, father. No, I'm just one. I'm not a teacher. On right with my children. I was survived and filled with trauma, feeling just from everybody else, and how to really adapt, because my mom was a user. She on me, and before I was born, so I never. And I just type of dad with my children. So I've come come from a long with my uncles, and I wanted to and I wanted to make my mark impactful into my kids' life. It's called Breaking the Chains to be exact. I am breaking the chains is a relationship with the we have turned it into, but a program schools in the LAUSD, 5 schools in the LA. The program is because what we have done is how to connect with in a whole another way. You know, don't know how to relate. Kids have so many walls up from anything of not knowing right to being a does not understand how to talk, but their walls sometimes can't get through those. By experience on myself, and I get somebody to tap in, and I never found that person to tap in. How to tap into kids like mine. I was a bit of a drug baby, like everybody else. I needed to understand that you need to tap into my life, tear down some of the walls. Within that, have realized that, you know, when we change, yeah, it is a lot breaking all barrier dysfunction. Really understanding that builds up and function, and it builds to go up. And sometimes people talk about that or be real that, but with this book, this is teaching a really tap in. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much about the program and everything we're doing.
No, we appreciate it. The audio is a little I think you're having a little connectivity issue there. And I don't know if you can move just
I'm loud enough.
No, we can hear you. It was just in and out, but I get most of your story. I did get most of it though throughout your telling your background and your story and a bit about your book too as well.
Yeah, I don't even go on there nothing, but if I had to, Ellen took notice to me and my brought us. We 12 days of Christmas. Actually, off it and give us $1 million. When she did that, it changed my life. That because this man was an overcomer. You know, a person that was that all people right doing my grandma kids. I was a single father. I like to be a single dad. I never right. So when it and he best blessed me because she paid attention to what we were doing and community. So history from there.
Wow. Thanks for sharing. I mean, I will get a chance to, we know we have your book and the people that are on here today. So hopefully if all of you stay until later, you'll be blessed to be able to get a copy of Robert Daniels' book as he talks about his digital series, Do Good Daniels. And he's the founder of I Am Breaking the Chains. And he was sharing a lot of that. And I know we had a little connectivity situation, but we'd love to kind of, if you have any questions for Daniel, just kind of put it in the chat and we'll share it with him as well. And let me ask you a question. I'm not sure if you can actually hear me still, Robert. Throughout your journey in terms of the things that you endured as a child and being an overcomer, being, you know, that victorious individual throughout your journey, what would you say what would you say has been one of the most how can I put it, the greatest kind of reaction that you've gotten from the public as far as with, you know, putting out your book, putting out your story, like one of the things that may have surprised you the most that you weren't expecting with the with sharing your book with the masses?
You know, I think that they understood clinical base, but the way they understood space is very, you know, and okay. Can you hear me?
No. Oh man, no, we can't really hear you. I know you're saying some great things there, but we can't hear you. And I'm upset because I want to hear everything. The connectivity isn't that great. But what you can do, why don't you do this, Robert? Why don't you try logging back off, and at some point before the end of the session, we'll give you an opportunity to come back up and share some of your story, because I think really to really give justice to what you're sharing with us and to allow the people to really get into your story and to hear your responses. Why don't you try logging off and coming back in, and we'll kind of see where we can fit you in. Is that okay?
Okay.
But make sure you come back, okay? Make sure you come back. We need to hear. The people want to hear. They're in the chat saying, what? We can't even hear them, but we need to hear the story. All righty? All right, perfect. So wait to hear from you.
Thank you, Robert.
All right.
Wow, Dr. Reggie, we had some amazing authors come on, had some amazing stories, amazing books. Just want to tell everybody, thank you guys for coming on and sharing your books. I really appreciate you guys coming in and sharing this moment with me for the book launch party. So just want to truly tell you guys, thank you for that.
All right, now we're going to get into the rest of the stuff. The man of the hour. Are we ready for Michael Allison? All of this was the draw. This is what got us here. We had a wonderful panel of people that led into this moment, the moment that I've been waiting for, right? Not that I wasn't waiting for the others, because they were great stories, and I can't wait to read their books. I promise I will read them. But Mr. Michael, we have the Adversity Academy, the Resilient Warrior Program. We have this guy that's an entrepreneur. He's a TED speaker, a philanthropist, a Purple Heart recipient. He's a veteran. Whoa, I mean, the list just goes on and on. You're definitely in your winning season across the board, and you finally had an opportunity to come out with your book. I know it's been a labor of love for you, and probably a few headaches, quite a few sleepless nights, but you completed it. So with all of that, we've had an opportunity to interview the wonderful panel that's here, but now we're getting ready to interview you. So now you can take off the host hat, and now I got this thing now, all right? So we have some questions for him. If those of you that are on here tonight, if you have any questions that you would like to have answered, be sure to put them in the chat, and we're gonna start off with a few, and let's go. So Michael, I have a quick question for you. What would you say as far as was the most defining moment throughout your journey of self-discovery? I mean, you go through the book in terms of the different, challenges you faced, in terms of how you were able to overcome those adversities and being able to get back on track and live the wonderful life that you're living now. I mean, how great of a story, right? To go through those challenges, you release the book, and then you step into this massive winning season. And I won't share all your business. I'll let you share as much as you want to, but I get excited and I talk pretty fast and I might spill the beans, but I'll let you share what you want. So what would you say has been the most defining moment for you throughout your journey of self-discovery?
Yeah, Dr. Reggie, thank you so much. I know you, giving me all the accolades and all that stuff, so I really appreciate it. So just want to tell you thank you for that. What has been the most defining moment along my journey of self-discovery? So for me, it goes back to when I was in a dark space. Before, I kind of fell into the status quo of the introvert. I'm the person that bottled and kept everything on the inside and was not one to share my feelings, share my thoughts or anything like that. So through all of the things that I've been through in my life, leading all the way up until I moved to Tampa, Florida, I was at rock bottom. And at rock bottom, I was going to take my life. Planned it out, went close to executing it. And that's at that pivotal moment, that's when God came into my life and just spoke to me and told me this, I can't do this. And that's when I had that paradigm shift and really had to start acknowledging, stepping into my purpose, participating in my own rescue and changing my life and trying to live a better life for my family, for my son, for, and just honoring and serving God. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I started taking steps doing all of the homework in regards to building myself up and changing my life to live the life that I wanted to be. You know what I mean? So to live that true, authentic person that I wanted to be. So, you know, I started like investing in myself, investing in my personal growth, investing in my spirituality, investing in my personal development, and in order to get to to reach my potential and get to where I wanted to be at in life.
Wow, that's definitely, that's major. You know, you said something that was key. You went through your dark moment, at some of your darkest moments, and you came to the realization that you had to participate in your own rescue. For some of the men that may be watching tonight, and for some of the wives, the spouses, the brother, the sisters, and for those of us that have men in our family, what advice would you give to the men that are on here, and for those of us that have men in our lives that we care for dearly, in terms of how do they get to a point of really tapping into their mental wellness and helping them to find a way to participate in their own rescue? Because I know, you know, women, we have an opportunity to kind of, society allows us to be emotional, right? To be able to cry or to be expressive. And I think sometimes men feel that because they're taught, you know, early on, no, you're not, you don't cry, you don't do this. So you kind of suppress a lot inside. What advice would you give to those of us that are on here in terms of how can we support the men in our lives and being able to help them to participate in their rescue and making their mental wellness a priority?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So, you know, I'll even lend towards Robert book title in regards to like breaking the chain. So, you know, I had to get past this imposter syndrome. I had to get past all of the things that was in my mindset. So, you know, what I did was I had to reprogram my mindset. And then what I had to do was change that mindset, then dig into being vulnerable. And then after that, I realized who was surrounding me. And then I had to realize what was my upbringing. And then I had to start asking these questions. Are these things true? And does any of these things matter? You know what I mean? So like to that guy out there, to that man out there, you know, you have to start thinking about what is the life that I want to live? What is the example that I want to live? How do I want to participate in my rescue? How do I want to show up? And then you need to start valuing yourself in order to understand that you are enough. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. You need to worry about anybody or any of that stuff. You're living your life for you. You're living your life for your family. And you're trying to be the best person, the best version of who you are trying to be. You're not trying to live that life based off of what mom said, what dad said, or any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like when you're with that person and that person is seeing that transition, that person is seeing that growth, they'll start seeing that with you too as well. And I think that's a challenge that I pose to men. I pose to guys in order to stepping into that new version of themselves in regards to like renewing their mind, renewing themselves, and becoming that person that they were always destined to be. I think for anyone that has a girlfriend or for a spouse or anything like that, I think it's, as I'm saying those things, you like identify like these are some things that your man is dealing with and things like that. It comes from a point of like encouragement. It comes from a point of love. It comes from a point of understanding. And then, you know, it could be a journey that you guys take on together. Or if he has to go out on a journey on his own to like find that self-discovery, then you're there supporting him, encouraging him, and in order for him to get to the level that you want him to be at. And I promise you, he is going to come back to you a better man.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that, because I know a lot of times we kind of focus on our men being strong, and sometimes, you know, you have those moments where they have those silent moments and those dark moments, and just being able to just be that support system. And I appreciate that coming from you and just kind of giving us some insight, because that's part of your journey and how you were able to come to that space of wanting to risk it all, wanting to just get rid of it all, but then finding that inspiration and holding on to your spirituality and realizing, coming to the epiphany, wait 1 second, in order for me to get to the other side, I need to be an active participant in my life and being part of that rescue. And then, of course, leaning on the other support that you may have, had to tap into. Now, let me ask you a question. You talk about so many different challenges that you faced as a child, as an adult, facing different traumas, and getting to the point where throughout that process, people may have failed you, and you may have felt that you failed yourself. Now, throughout that process, right, what inspired you to really get the courage to say that, hey, this is time to really share, your story? Because sometimes we get so caught up in life, and you mentioned something about imposter syndrome. So having a facade of everything being okay, but having these other hidden secrets, these other traumas that you've experienced, and not necessarily everyone knowing, being privy to all of that. So what inspired you to really and truly get to that point of being brave and saying, hey, it's time for me to share my story, and doing it in a very unapologetic way?
Yeah. So, before I wrote this book, I thought about what people may say 6 years ago. And that's when I initially wanted to write this book. And throughout that process, I was still like in a healing phase and self-discovery phase. So I did not release the book. So I started writing this book in San Antonio, Texas, with a friend of mine, Steve Belber. And then I just was like muddling through the mud with bits and pieces of writing the book. And then once I started stepping into where I wanted to be and my self-discovery, that's when I realized that it was time to write this book. Now, a pivotal point for that was once I started getting a mentor, after I got a coach, once I started getting an accountability partner, once I changed my circle of friends that was around me, that was pouring things into my head, doing activities that I probably should not be doing. Once I started changing the books that I was reading, once I started pretty much auditing my entire life, I realized things started shifting and my trajectory just started going up. And once all that started going on, then I felt like a burden was just being released, and just things were just shifting. And I was like, oh, I like this. I like this feeling. I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing. So that's when, I was like, okay, I see where things are going. I see that there's a other side of where I was at before, and there's no turning back for me.
Okay, here's a quick thing, right? So you described before, depressed, dark, and, dealing with imposter syndrome, right? And willing to leave it all on the table. What would be the 3 adjectives you would use to describe yourself today, now, having gone through that journey? So we've gone through the darkness. You've mentioned the depressed part, so many different things that you experienced. How would you describe yourself today, having gone through that, and where you are in your journey as far as self-discovery?
Number one, I would say resilient. I think resiliency speaks to all of the adversities that I've been through in my life. And I could have easily taken my life. I could have easily quit it. I could have easily given up. I could have easily fell back to my past and make myself susceptible to those types of things. But I chose not to. That's part of participating in my own rescue. So the first one was to be resilient. I think when you have that mental fortitude inside of you to just keep on fighting, keep on pushing, and keep on going, and bolstering up your mental capacity and all those things and stuff like that. Whenever the enemy comes against you or anything like that, it doesn't even phase you anymore. You just keep on pushing, keep on pushing through. I think the next thing for me, I would say is I am comfortable, but not in a space of I guess when people say being uncomfortable with being comfortable, but I'm comfortable in my skin, in who I am. Now, I don't need to prove anything to anyone. I don't need to go out of my way for anything like that. I love myself. I know that I'm enough. I'm not trying to prove anything to nobody. I'm not trying to do some of the things that I used to do in the past to show off or do any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? However you see me, that's how you see me, how I show up. You're gonna love me for who I am, and if you don't, it's okay too. You know what I mean? I'm still gonna love you, and we gonna still keep it moving. You know what I mean? And then the next thing is for me is I would say I think leadership. A leader is the next thing that shows up for me. I think once I started participating in my own rescue and started changing my life, I realized that different people started gravitating towards me and started becoming more of my tribe, my type of people, and people who like what I do, like what I talk about, and things like that. I found that once I started sharing my story and giving them all of my life lessons and all of these things that has helped me get to where I'm at in my life, they wanted more of that information. They wanted to speak to me more. They wanted to talk to me more. They loved the information that I was giving them. And I realized that this was me stepping into my purpose. This book had a reason behind it. I did not have to worry about what people think or anything like that. As I know that I was helping someone with my story, helping someone with the lessons that I've been through, I think that ultimately was a blessing for me as well.
Wow. So I hear being resilient. You became comfortable with in terms of your self-love. Of course, I have a little feisty Yorkie in the background. You can hear her. And what I noticed, the underlying theme throughout all of it is that your spirituality led you to the place of being able to kind of have that level of resiliency, right? Having the mental fortitude, being comfortable in who you are, having that self-love. And something that really stands out for me is that you became the person that you probably needed during that time. So now here it is, you've morphed into this person, right? That can now tap into others, feed into others, pour into others that are probably experiencing the same journey, or that's probably in that same place and not necessarily knowing where to turn. So becoming the person that you needed, that takes a lot of courage. It takes a great deal of insight, and it definitely, as you said, it takes a great leader to recognize that people are watching you and they need you, and they're able to follow you and become your tribe. And you've created a community around, those individuals that you probably needed during that time. So this is good stuff. I mean, I can just sit here forever, right? I know we have to get off at some point, but we're just like getting into the thick of it and time is running. So I have another question for you. What advice would you give to your younger self regarding the journey that they'll face throughout the trauma, throughout the bullying, throughout the PTSD, all of the different things? What advice and what tips would you give to your younger self in terms of what in terms of what was to come, or as far as that journey is concerned? I guess I'm speaking
The advice that I would give myself, I harbored a good bit on, like I said, keeping a lot of things internalized, and it caused for me with a lot of second guessing, a lot of doubt. And what that did was, I think that had me miss out on opportunities and put me in bad situations. I think if I would have stopped second guessing myself, if I would have stopped harboring around on things, my life probably would have been where it should have been that long time ago. So what I think is, if I was to think back to myself at a younger age, I should have gotten past all of the forgiveness pieces in my life that I had to step into a long time ago. And so with me walking around with that weight on my shoulder and my mind and my head, I had like blinders on and I couldn't see what was ahead of me, what was in front of me, where I should have been at, what I should have been doing in regards to like what was out there for me. So, it lends to where you don't get to really be your true authentic self, don't really get to express that creativity that's inside of you. And I think that was a biggest dilemma. So if I would tell my younger self, dust that stuff off, man, as soon as you can, because there's so much more greatness. There's so much more ahead of you. There's so much more in front of you. if you just forget about all these things that you are carrying on your weight, on all that on your shoulder. Because, you know, I kind of see it like this, you know, once I became a grown adult, joined the Marine Corps, you know, I was making decisions on my own and things like that. I was leading guys in the military. I was leading guys in the war. You know what I mean? So like at that particular stage, you know, all that stuff is on me, and I should have been able to step into that. And I think that my life would have been in a different place 20 years ago.
Wow. Okay. I have another question for you. What surprised you the most in terms of how the people that loved you the most received your story? You know, sometimes we, you know, people go through various traumas, and the people that love them the most have no idea, because sometimes they live with the shame or the embarrassment, or they're afraid of how their loved ones will respond, right? In your book, you really bare your soul. You reveal so much. And what surprised you about how those people in your life that loved you the most responded to your story and your vulnerability?
The response has been amazing, Dr. Reggie. You know, when I wrote the book, I wrote it as self-therapy for myself. And then in the introduction of the book, I wrote this book for myself and dedicated to a lot of people that have been through a lot of drama. What I vastly realized was that there's plenty of, I would say, men maybe that are suffering or going through some of these same things, that once I started doing my research on this, there's 1 in 13 boys that are getting molested in the United States. It's over like 46% for like Caribbean born kids that are being molested and things like that. The numbers are astronomical in regards to the kids that are getting bullied. And then after I did my research with that, I said, I cannot keep this stuff to myself. I have to share and let guys know that there's help out there, there's therapy out there, there's systems in place out there. You know, I tried to take my life. You know, I was going through a lot of PTSD, mental health issues and things like that. I got divorced twice. You know, I've been arrested. I had a DUI. I had a whole bunch of baggage that I was carrying around that I was harboring and did not really know where to turn. So I think that once I released that and then I put it in a book, I started getting people coming up to me like, hey, I didn't know that you was a veteran, but you know that I have an uncle, and he used to come home every day and he used to drink on the couch, and he would just like you know, just go on like a hamster wheel. And she was telling me that, you know, I was wondering what's going on with him. And she said the book resonated with him because with her in regards to her uncle. And she started talking to her uncle more. And then all of a sudden she told me that her uncle decided to go to the VA and started getting help. Another person told me they read the book and they shared the book with their son. Their son was struggling with some confidence issues he just dropped out of college and he did not really know what to do with his life. And she shared the book with him. And now her son decided to join my church, decided to join the freedom group that I spoke about in the book. So like, I love that the book is making an impact here in my local community, just for the people that I ask to support my book. I have a couple of friends that bought my book too. They've called me, they've texted me, say, hey man, really good book. I really appreciate you sharing this, and just share some things from a guy's point of view, from a man's point of view. I had another guy from my church. He read the book, and he was in my freedom group. And I told him, like, you know, this book helped spark me to write that book. That freedom group helped me write this book. And he was telling me that, you know, when you was in the group, you know, you didn't share all this stuff when you was in the group, and I'm really impressed that you did that in regards to like trying to help other guys, as I know that there's so many people that are suffering. So, you know, that was my whole intention, was to definitely try to heal myself. But I know that there's many people in masses. There's kids in the school that are probably suffering through bullying. There's some kids at home or that may be getting molested right now as we speak. There's some veterans that's getting out of the service that don't know what to do when they get out of the military. and still trying to like figure out life, trying to find a job and all these things. I got out of the military. I worked for 6 months, got laid off, then worked again, got fired. So I just know that there's a transition that some of these people are struggling with. You know, I just know that these issues are some issues that we could put inside of schools, we could put inside of the programs. I could help people by sharing my story and then talk about some of the lessons that I learned and things that I implemented in my life that I wanted people to read inside of this book and learn what I did in regards to changing my life.
Wow. For those of you that are on here, if you're just getting massive insight, value, you're being moved, you're being touched, just in the sense of with his story and everything that he's sharing, put some hearts in the chat for our wonderful author here. Put some hearts in the chat for our panelists that have been on here. And I have another question for you. If you can allow me just 2 more questions, I promise. I'll leave at 2 because I can go on. Talk to us
Sure.
about the power. Talk to us about the power of forgiveness. As a child, throughout, experiencing molestation, experiencing bullying, going through, phases of people failing you in your life and not protecting you or not making you feel safe in terms of having to experience some of those things. Talk to us about the power of forgiveness on your journey of where you are now in overcoming adversity and getting your life back on track.
Yeah, that's an easy one for me. Like I said, I carried a lot of weight on my shoulder, and then once I started going to some counseling, I started getting some mentor. I changed my circle, and all of a sudden, all of the programs that I was getting myself into, my mindset started shifting, and it felt like a whole bunch of weight was getting released. Then once I tapped in spiritually, a bigger weight got released. And then what I realized was forgiveness is for yourself. It ain't for nobody else. Like those people out there that even hurt you or did something, they're probably not even thinking about you. They kept it moving. They're not even worried about you or any of those things. You know what I'm saying? So like I had to learn how to not even worry about those things as I was, because that stuff doesn't matter. Like in my book, some of the people that did some stuff to me, I have not spoken to those people over 20 years. Those people don't care about me. They will not even think about me. So like, I had to really get past that and not even worry about that stuff and just focus on me and making myself the better version of the person that I wanted to be.
Wow. So we talk about forgiveness. It's for yourself and not for those around you. And being able to have the courage and being able to have, that spiritual aspect, that guidance in you, the Christian in you, the God in you, to be able to forgive those that have actually wronged you, and realizing that in order for you to move forward in your life and in your journey, that you had to forgive, whether you were able to receive an apology from them or not. That's really huge, because a lot of times, I think I read somewhere, I think how does it go? Waiting for forgiveness is carrying anger and not forgiven is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die, right? Because you're drinking that poison and you're the one that's slowly withering away, expecting these people or whoever it is that may have wronged you to acknowledge, right? And so being able to understand, being able to realize that the key thing, they're not even thinking about you anymore. They've probably forgotten. Now they won't forget. They probably would never acknowledge it, right? But just being able to say, hey, I can't wait on that. I need to, again, participate in my own rescue. And just the whole story of just resiliency, just being able to just give so much to the people that are on here, because life happens, right? And when life happens, it allows, so many different things step into our lives to kind of throw us off track, or that can be discouraging, that can lead so many people into depression and feeling various, at times of inadequacy and things that you've mentioned before. So I hope that everyone on here is really paying attention and realizing that whatever it is you're going through, whatever it is you've experienced, whoever may have wronged you, that there's still light and hope on the other side of whatever challenge and adversity that you may be facing or you have faced. So Michael, you have definitely blessed me, and I'm quite sure you've blessed so many others that are on here tonight. And this is just one of those things where we want a series. We want a continuation of this. You just can't give us this teaser, this one night of this thing, and not, have you have some other sessions to really help people to understand how do you get past whatever you may be facing in life and really stepping into your purpose and destiny and being able to live the life that you want. For those of you that aren't, if you want to hear Mike, if you want more of this stuff, just type yes, right? If you want more of Michael, you want more of this adversity training in terms of how do you get past whatever you're facing in life, because life happens, right? Whatever it may be, whether in your personal life, your professional life, your business life, whatever that may be. A lot of times you don't necessarily have the tools, right? Or the fortitude to really be able to say, how do I kind of turn this thing around? So for those of you that want more of the Adversity Academy, understanding how to overcome this, put yes in the chat. There's a link in there as well, so make sure you click on that. And I guess we'll close out with the last question. I said I only had 2 more, so this is the last one. So with all that you have going on, you've stepped into your winning season, you've overcome so much. You're this victor, you're a survivor, you're this MVP, you're the mogul, the philanthropist, you're a mentor, you're a coach, you're a teacher, you're an awesome father, you're a son, all these different things. What's next? What's next for Michael W. Allison as you embark on this journey of where you are now?
What's next in 2023? I have a lot of stuff in stores. So, after I wrote this book, my whole mission is to inspire people, make an impact in their lives. So what I wanted to do was create the Adversity Academy program. So through that program, I'm creating the Resiliency Warrior program. That program there is going to be to help people change their lives and get to the life and live that potential of where they're trying to be, whether it's spiritually, whether it's mentally, whether it's physically, as an entrepreneur or person out of your life. So that's the program that I'm going to be creating, and I'm going to be dropping the masterclass for that coming February 2023. So that's next month. So you guys stay tuned for that, or you guys could go to the my contact page and sign up for that, and just put in there the Resiliency Warrior, and then I know that you was on side of this party, and I know that you want to sign up for that too as well. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be dropping my podcast, the Adversity Academy podcast. Through that podcast platform, I'm going to be bringing up multiple guests that's going to be having either sharing their stories on whatever adversity that they have faced and what they have done themselves, kind of like my situation, but how that could be applied to your life, whoever are the listeners. And that'll be streamed on all of the podcast platforms and our YouTube channel. So you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that too as well. Aside from that, we have coaching programs that's going to get started here in February too as well. I'm looking forward to working with you guys in regards for me to help you get to that next level that you guys are trying to get to. So yeah, that's what we got planned for 2023 with the Adversity Academy.
Wow. I can hardly wait. I hope you're going to get too big for me. So I have to get all my autographs now. So I need to get a few more books to buy. I need to make sure I get your autograph now, because I don't want your security to kind of, push me away when you're on stage. And I'm like, hey, I know Mike, so just kind of keep that in mind. All right. So for those of you that want to stay in the know, for those of you that want to be the first to be part of his exclusive community, for those of you that have stayed on this long, we definitely want to reward you. I mean, I'm kind of speaking for Mike, so don't kill me, Mike. So for those of you that want to make sure that you get the inside, like the inside scoop, the exclusive scoop on everything that's coming down the pike, and even get maybe a little family discount for being on here tonight, go to his Instagram, go to his Facebook, make sure you type adversity. Okay. Somebody put the link in there. Okay, good. There you go. Click on that link, put your information in there so that you can be part of the exclusive community. We're just going to consider you VIPs at this point, because just like Cousin Pete at the barbecue, you've kind of been here for a while. So we're family now, right? So click the link, be sure to put your information in there. Yes, the book tour is coming. I'm quite sure I'll be there, but I definitely need to make sure I get my autographs on the other stuff later. We had some remarkable authors here tonight. Definitely want to, again, thank them for being a part of this journey, giving up their time to really and truly come in and support Michael on his journey, and being able to share some of the great things that you're doing, all of you respectively, in your lives, and the books that you have. We have Shauna Roberts, Christopher Robinson, Patricia Davis, and Robert Daniels. Okay. We cannot thank you enough for taking out of your day to really assist Mike in terms of bringing his dream to fruition and being a part of his official launch. How cool is that, right? So, I mean, great things are on the horizon for him. So I'm glad that I've had an opportunity to kind of catch him on this side so I can at least, hey, can I get a ticket into the event or something? So again, for those of you that haven't, here's the book here, Overcoming Adversity, Getting Back on Track. And he talked about how, you have people that have actually, that have been in the military, that are veterans. And sometimes, society isn't always so kind to our veterans, but being able to give them some hope from someone that have actually shared a similar journey and letting them know that they too can overcome whatever it is they're facing and being able to participate in their very own rescue. You may have sons or uncles and just different people out there that could really benefit from understanding that although life happens, there's always a way to overcome those adversities, but really being able to have core strategies and being able to have someone that have actually been down that journey and how, Michael was able to kind of get on the other side, and here he is now. So again, make sure you click the link. Let's see, is there anything else that I'm missing? I'm kind of just adding some stuff here for you, Michael, so don't kill me. I'm just so excited for all this going on right now. So, my little brother's doing some major things. So, I just want to kind of dust off my shoulder too. All right. So without further, I'll stop right there, Michael. The floor is yours, and go ahead, lead us out of here.
Yes, so thank you so much, Dr. Reggie, for joining me tonight. I want to tell thank you to all of my guests that showed up tonight and talked about their books. So I want to tell Shonda, thank you so much. Christopher, thank you so much. Dr. Patricia Davis, thank you so much. And Mr. Robert Daniels, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you guys showing up for me tonight. I want to tell everybody that showed up to the party, everybody that was participating in the chat. I can see the chat was going crazy, man. I really appreciate y'all. I see a lot of my good friends that showed up. Dallas, King, Sire, everybody, man. Courtney showed up. So I just want to tell you guys, man, we had a massive showing tonight. We had over 70 people that signed up for the, we had over 70 people that signed up to be a part of the Facebook group. And then we had everybody show up here and stay towards the end. Like I said, you guys could have been anywhere, but you guys chose to be here and rock out with me tonight. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your support. Actually, that you do guys follow me on social media at I am Michael W. Allison on all platforms. If you guys want to continue to support the book is on Amazon. The book is on the Adversity Academy website as well. After you do buy a book, guys, I ask that you please leave me a book review. Thank you so much. I pray that you guys be blessed, be blessed, be blessed. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night.
The winners. We have to make sure, will they be notified on social media? How are we going to let them know for those that actually participate?
Yes, so we're going to announce all of the winners inside of the Facebook group for all of the challenges. So like I said, the grand prize, we're going to announce that inside of the Facebook group. And then all of you guys will get books from all the authors that was speaking tonight as well. So like I said, thank you guys for that so much. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for showing up.
All right. All right, beautiful people. So we look forward to seeing you and just continue to be a part of Michael's journey as he just, goes on and impact the world with his story and his talents and being able to impact change in the lives of those that have maybe lost hope at some point, but letting them know that, hey, you can be the comeback kid too. All right. Good night.
All right. Thank you.